Let me get a quick mic check. Quick mic check. Peace to the family. Grand, night, AM?
Hey, hey, oh, if you wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies against us. You gotta show me trust. If you wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies against us. You gotta show me trust. If you're looking for inclusion, then talk to me. Talk to the family tree. We can all ride when it's time to slide on our enemies. And we can all ride when it's time to override these policies. If you wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies. You gotta show me trust. If you wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies. You gotta show me trust. You wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies against us. You gotta show me trust. Hey. If you wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies. You gotta show me trust. If you wanna ride with us, you gotta show me love. No more riding with lies. You gotta show me trust.
Benefits are going to, roughly define foundational Black Americans, the descendants of American slaves. You've taken away the whole purpose of this. So to make the point that Kamala isn't a foundational Black American, I'm always... Unless these benefits are going to, roughly define foundational Black Americans, the descendants of American slaves.
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You're just starting to get real credit for that, okay? I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense?
Let him cook now. which is actually quite interesting because I got a call from the Foundational Black American Society here in Florida who reminded me that Byron's mother is Jamaican, he is Panamanian, and they found it quite insulting in their words that he would try to claim victimhood of slavery without a single descendant of American slaves in his family.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years and the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years, I don't know. I think that gives, I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
got, you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
I mean, they're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is.
You have said that you resent the idea of being called an African American, that
Yes.
you are a Black American.
Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call Black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family's been here, built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, fought in every war, okay? So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
I'm always going to be known as a Black American. I can't call myself an African American because when they want to separate us, then they say we are African American. But remember this: when I'm competing in the Olympics, I didn't compete on an African American Olympic team. I competed on an American Olympic team. So don't separate me when you want to separate me.
I am not an African American. I'm an American. I am a Black American. I am definitely Black. And yes, my ancestors come from Africa. How long does a bloodline have to live in one land before they are considered a pure species of that land? Meaning, how long did my people have to be in America to say, hey, no, we're American, compared to some people who are English American, who are Irish American, who are German American from their ancestors, but they get to call themselves American. There's nothing wrong with being African American, but a true African American is someone that is from Africa and moved here, either first generation or second generation, and has a tie to that country that I do not have. One of the first census in Virginia that allowed for Black people to have a name was somebody from my family. So that means
Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't. We're not from the motherland. We're from America. So I'd rather say I'm a Black American. So I consider myself a Black American. I don't consider myself African American and shout that. Because Africans don't even fuck with us.
Wow.
Because they don't.
I don't mind the term African American. I don't want to be called African American.
Why is that?
I'm not African.
Very strong.
That's how Afro get in front of my motherfucking race. I ain't never been to Afro-Con. I never been to Africa. Afro or Africa. Never been there. I'm not from Africa. I'm born and raised in Goose, Florida. I'm born in Goose, raised in Liberty City in the Poker Bean Project. I ain't never went to Africa. I ain't thinking about going there. And I heard it's a beautiful place. Yeah. And I know it's the motherland, yes. But not my mother, not her mother, and not her mother's mother. That ain't their land.
It's Black History Month. We're highlighting foundational Black Americans whose ingenuity, innovations, and labor play a critical role in American culture and infrastructure. Next guest is working to ensure that foundational Black Americans' contributions are known. By author and creator of Foundational Black American Legacy, Teresa Allman. She joins me now. Teresa, hey, thank you so much for your time. But I was curious, what inspired you to make videos spotlighting foundational Black Americans?
Bruh.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it, man. You dig it? Let's get into it. How do I end this goddamn? Oh, where's the Zoom? Oh shit, I didn't even press that. Shit, it make you just press shit. Like, come on, did I press that? Yeah, I didn't even. All right, this shit is wilding out right now. All right. All right, family. We are here with the clapback. Spinning the block. Okay. We got some things to say. Don't appreciate that. Don't appreciate her coming for us. You know the old saying, if I didn't send for you, don't come for me. All right. But this is gonna be a great show. Okay, I'm gonna definitely hold on, no. I'm gonna definitely let it cook. FDA, what's that say? FDA, peace, man. I'm gonna throw a lineage wrench at you once I switch back to the other one, which I should have been at the whole time. Hold on, let me just switch back. I don't know why I switched to this one. Oh, I know why, because this one is ad free. All right, so let's go back. Ain't gonna make this one too late. In and out, like a bank robbery. All right, let me get my man that lineage wrench. Yeah, so make sure y'all do the most important thing, which is like the video. Let me pause that. Yeah, let me throw you a lineage wrench. Yeah, so check this out, family. So critics, haters, trolls, tethers, uh they're trying to neutralize the acronym FBA. They're trying to attach it to cult, hate group. So what we're gonna do and what we've been doing on the low, people have already been calling ourselves something different, just to tone that down. Tariq Nasheed already said he approved of that. That's why he was supportive of terms like Solon. He was like, yeah, he said for that reason. He said if we keep it on FBA, it's too easy for somebody just to drop a hate group bomb and everybody's done. Channels then being deleted, shadow banned. So people have started to say things similar. Solon, descendants of freedmen or American freedmen. There's a sister saying ethnic Black Americans. You know me, I always say the lineage. So I'm just saying the lineage Black Americans, lineage Black Americans. So we're gonna purposely come at them different angles. So when somebody say American freedmen or U.S. freedmen, ADOS, like they can't say that's the whole hate group. No, remember you said this was the hate group. I'm not part of that. I'm Solon. What's that? And then you just explain. Okay, what's so hateful about delineating? Can you please? So you put it back on them. What is so hateful about delineating and seeking redress for reparations? Nothing hateful about that. It's hateful to be dismissive of it. Okay, real simple. That's our alienable right to distinguish ourselves from everybody on the planet, like how everybody else on the planet have done. And I forgot. So when Igbos, they're Nigerian, right? Aren't the Fulanis Nigerian? So why aren't they all just Nigerian? Why are the Igbo still and Fulani still? Ain't that being divisive? Ain't that being tribal? Don't they want to end the tribal affairs? Tribalism? Hmm? Yeah, so we're gonna mix it up on them, come in different directions, good cop, bad cop, all that's gonna happen. So you're gonna hear me say lineage, Black Americans for a while, just so we're not all lumped up, and we're gonna easy clear the smoke. But we're all FBA, Foundation Black Americans. They're just right now we're just playing chess. That's all. We're just playing chess. Like, all right, and we're gonna uncuff FBA. All right. So, well, I didn't know this had no juice. This thing had no juice. All right, so let's get to it. Let me see how the family is. How y'all doing out there? Yeah, now we're all sticking with FBA, but like when people say Solon, they don't say they're not FBA. When people say they're U.S. freedmen, they don't say they're not FBA. When people, when we say, some people just say Black Americans, right? That don't mean they don't agree to FBA. Like I said, this is something that Tariq Nasheed had already foretold like months ago. He encouraged us, by the way. Do I gotta get the clip for y'all? He encouraged us because somebody said, "What do you think about Solon, the term Solon?" And he was like, "Oh, nah, that's all good." He said, I want there to be other ethnic labels out there so that they can't make FBA a cult group." That's what he said. So, you know, I agree with that. Because they're trying to corner us. They're desperate. They're trying to corner us. So now we're saying ethnic Black Americans, same thing as FBA. You dig? That's like a business, like so-called splitting up. Like that's like Atlantic Records. I think aren't they like owned by an umbrella, a parent company? The parent company is like Sony or somebody, but it's the same shit. So you think you sign? I don't want to sign with Sony. I'm gonna sign with Atlantic Records and don't know Sony owns. That's what we're saying. We're saying these are labels that's tied to the parent label, and that's how we doing it. Just to mix it up so they can't say we're a hates group, and now everywhere we go, we're being treated like MAGA. See, gotta be kind of smart, strategic. So again, it's a strategic move. This is chess. This ain't checkers. All right. So anyway, shall we begin? Now bear with this stupidity, man. Like I was cringing watching this video. Oh my God. I was cringing. This disgusting cake soap face. Be nice. I'm even trying to mix up my language where I'm, okay. So let's get to it. Let's get to it. Make sure I click the audio. You know how I do. I don't be clicking that audio. Okay, the audio is clicked.
Hey, man.
Where is that woman? I was about to say something else. Okay. Where is she? Yeah, she got some wild long name. There she is. All right. Let's get to the video. And she gonna go in from the door. She ain't even wait.
Turn any text into speech instantly using AI and 11 Labs.
What makes a foundational Black American is that we don't have immigrant lineage. That's the thing. That's what makes you a foundation. It's not a group, it's not an organization, it's not something that you join. It's acknowledging the people who are literally the foundation of this nation. Me, on both sides of my family, I have no immigrants in my family. My mother and father, both lineages come from the South. Okay. From the beginning of this country, I can trace my lineage to the mid-1700s on paper, and it goes deeper than that. So that's what we talk about when we mean foundational Black American. We're just acknowledging our lineage and the importance and significance of it in this country, because we are a very unique ethnic group.
I like those foundational guys.
They're so good.
Tariq Nasheed and all. I mean, I don't agree with everything, but like they've got a perspective. If your family's been here 400 years.
So family, her tactic is called poisoning the well. Okay, that's all this means. Okay, if anybody gives you credit, due credit. This is credit due to us. So even the Bible, for you religious people, the Bible says even your enemies will bow down. So that's the goal. The goal is for everyone to respect us, not just people who are allies, ops too. Everybody's going to be forced to respect us. And it's starting with these guys.
And the descendants of a lot of American slaves or families have been here 400 years. I don't know. I think that gives, I'll listen to you. Like you've
100%.
got, you've got a point of view that is legitimate, I think.
Yeah. And they're unequivocally heritage Americans.
That's for sure.
100%.
They're definitely heritage Americans, if anyone is. And, someone rolls in from Ghana and gets an MSNBC slot and starts speaking on behalf of black people. It's like, shut up, honey. You've got nothing to do with this.
Right.
That's
Literally.
a fair perspective,
right.
I think.
And so it's good to actually see them call them out for that. That's actually cultural appropriation. Appropriating the struggle of slavery.
I totally agree.
And the struggle of slavery was real.
My people, it's Black History Month here.
Okay, I don't know what she think Black history means, but Black history does not include foreigners. Black history is for foundational Black Americans, Solon people, Adolfs, freedmen, lineage Black Americans, those of the lineage. Okay, so critics and people like her like to use Black as this broad label, but it's really to dilute. It's to dilute and also dilute resources. Okay, so what we want to do is move on from race, what you look like, to lineage, who your ancestors were. Okay, we want to move on from race to lineage. Okay, so delineation. Let's talk about delineation. So we want to talk about delineation, disaggregation, and explicit representation. They all come after each other. First is delineation, then it's disaggregation, and then it's explicit representation. So you'll hear Tariq Nasheed talk about delineation. That's the main talking point. You'll hear Yvette Carnell talk about disaggregation. That's the main talking point of hers. But they don't contradict. They come one after the other. The first is delineation. That is simply drawing a line, defining who is in based on history, ancestry, not just skin color, because we are different shades. All right. Then you have disaggregation, right? That's separating the data. You can't track the progress of foundational Black Americans, Adolfs, descendants of freedmen, the lineage, if we are lumped in with the wealthy recent immigrants who are brain drains of their country. Right. So yeah, that's not proper representation. So that's why we ask for, after disaggregation, here comes explicit representation. It's to stop that. And that is simply using specific names like FBA, freedmen, the lineage, and laws. So there's no confusion about who the check is for, who resources are for, who are being funneled into prisons, who's being these ethnic disparities. We want to know who is really targeting people being enrolled and admitted into these Ivy League colleges. It's just saying Black. It's just saying African American, but it ain't foundational Black Americans, and that's how to get over it. And we peeped it. So So speaking of reparations, the reason why we have to delineate, because I've been saying for the longest, if there was a check to be cut, and if it's cut for people with the name or identified as Black Americans or African in any which way, it'll be impossible to exclude recent immigrants because they are also legally Black Americans and African Americans, not ancestrally, but legally. Okay. So now that's a problem. So the equal protection clauses, or I'll say the equal protection clause, it stops race based exclusion, but it allows claim based eligibility. Okay, see? So you can exclude people based on race. So if our race, and it is not to our own fault, but our race in America is Black African American, immigrants are coming to the country, Black African American. So a reparations claim cannot exclude them legally, cannot, because that's their race too. And we believe that was the finesse. Okay. So if we attempt to exclude them, then they're going to yield to the equal protection clause and say, no, sir, we are allowed in this reparation case. And with all those immigrants being tagged in, whatever money that was set aside for us and resources is now split up even more, fragmented even more. So a policy is legally bulletproof if it requires a 1860 census record or Freedmen's Bureau papers. Okay, that's not race. It's a documented historical tort, a legal wrong. Okay, so that's why the wording got to be right. So we couldn't use, which we already know. Tariq, everybody know that we couldn't use FBA in court. Now, haters and critics act like we were planning to do that. We already got we already got freedmen. You know, that's our legal name when we go that route. So we already know that, but they try to change our narrative. Now, before we get into this woman, let's briefly talk about ethnogenesis. This is how people are born. Ethnogenesis. She has no idea what an ethnogenesis is. Guarantee you. So an ethnogenesis is pretty much saying culture over biology, because they all going to ask you, hey, nigga, don't you got African ancestry? Now, some people will say yes, and some people will say no. And I'm saying don't answer at all, because genetics have nothing to do with an ethnogenesis. An ethnogenesis is culture over biology. So you ask them back, hey, man, does genetics or biology have anything to do with ethnogenesis? That's all, because you're arguing apples against our oranges. So ethnicity isn't just DNA. It's a social construct. It's built on shared history, struggle, and institutions like the Black Church or the Freedmen's Bureau. There's no DNA to a Black church, and there's no DNA to a Freedmen's Bureau or shared history or struggle or institutions. All right. So then you have the rupture factor. That is a group that is formed when people go through a major event together. For FBAs, for Foundation Black Americans, that rupture was the Middle Passage and U.S. enslavement. Then you have something called inclusion is institutional. So you aren't just born into a group, you participate in it. All right. This is the Drake issue. If you share the same political goals, values, and institutions, you are part of that social reality, regardless of genetic outliers. So the DNA test is a nothing burger. Don't even entertain it. Just ask them back. Are you saying an ethnogenesis is biological? And once they say no, they say, okay, no, then the DNA test, you're just throwing me somewhere else. Let's just talk about the ethnogenesis. We don't talk about DNA when we talk about delineating reparations. When we talk about ethnogenesis, we're not talking about DNA. We're talking about genealogy, documents. Okay, what can be documented? What can be proven? All right, anyway. Other countries already recognize specific ethnic groups that aren't just races. We can use them as a blueprint, which I was saying about the those tribes. But check this out. Remember the other day I talked about the Métis. Canada treats the Métis as a specific group, not a general race. The U.S. needs to stop using Black as a catch-all and start recognizing lineage. That's our argument. Okay, that's our position. Disaggregation is the key. Just like Canada has a specific box for the Métis metis, however it's pronounced, on the census. Black Americans, we need a specific box to track the economic debt owed specifically to us and our ancestors. So now, while the Canadian Métis fight for territory, our fight is for economic redress and the return of heirs' property, land stolen from Black families. Now, family, if y'all didn't watch the video I did on deed theft, I'm gonna do a separate. It's just so much information out here that we need to know. Now, that's something that came across my desk too. I have no idea what the heirs' property was. On the live, we all looked it up together. And it's a real deal. It's the real deal how white people were extracting, or white supremacy, systemic racism. So not just white people, because it could have been a Spanish or Indian. So systemic racism, people abusing or taking advantage of white supremacy, stealing debt, stealing land that or property that's in our name. That's passed down to the heirs. That's what it's called. It's called the heirs theft thing. Okay. Anyway, it's called heirs property. So it's called deed theft, but it's formally called heirs property. These are legal ways that people can swindle land right under our feet. I mean, literally can just take your land with a simple mishappening for one person, right? It's very important to know about that. So DNA is a code, but ethnicity is a story. We are the authors of foundational Black American story, Adolf, Friedman. We're the authors of that story. The government uses Black to hide the debt. Okay, we use FBA to collect it. Write that down. Write that down. The government uses Black African American to hide the debt, make it all inclusive. That's nothing, family. When you have a reparations claim, they got to only go to the victims that was harmed. It can't be for people who are not harmed. So by us saying Black African American, if we leave it like that and don't make a special distinction from that, then they're entitled, but they're not entitled. So they're entitled legally and they're also disqualified legally. So it's a whole trick bag that the government tried to finesse us, kind of did behind our back. But the government used Black as a race. It used African American as a race, and then called immigrants Black as a race and African American as a race. And they did that to hide the debt. We're using FBA, ADOS, Friedman to collect the debt. So we get around that. So likewise, if Canada can recognize the Métis people as a distinct people, why can't the U.S. recognize us as a distinct people who are foundational here, who are former United States slaves or former U.S. enslavement? Okay. So we are moving from a label the government gave us, African American, to a title we gave ourselves. Okay, so the government gave us an exonym, African American. We gave ourselves FBA. FBA is definitely an endonym, and African American is an exonym. Now, why is this important? Because of the Black umbrella, the Black African American umbrella. So currently the government lumps us, foundational Black Americans, descendants of U.S. slaves, with recent immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean. The group is all together, and that's a statistical mask. So when you bundle these groups, the success of recent immigrants masks the economic stagnation of the foundational group. So remember, they always brag about, the Nigerians, we're so smart, we got jobs, education. Yeah, that's the point. That is lumped up with us. So now we're making a case for reparations because of the wealth gap, and we're locked out of the wealth. We're locked out of college admissions. Like, we're being, locked out, but you guys are allowed in and you're not one of us, but you're being lumped up as one of us. So now your success get tagged onto our stagnation. So our stagnation doesn't look like stagnation no more. It looks like progression. So it's a whole trick. It's a whole finesse, right? So it makes it look like we're doing better than what we actually are. I'm talking about the lineage. It makes the lineage look better than what we're actually doing when you guys get lumped up with us, coming from these countries that don't have our history. So universities and corporations meet their quotas by hiring or enrolling immigrants with higher starting capital. This lets them ignore the specific group, us, they owe for Jim Crow and redlining, among other things. Now, as I spoke to before, the lawsuit trap. If you try to exclude people based on race, you get hit with the equal protection lawsuits. Write this down, because Dr. Ruxpin ain't gonna tell you this, Dr. Ancient Mama Maya ain't gonna tell you this, and all those people are in our spaces. They ain't gonna say this right here. You're gonna get this from the lineage, from us. So the solution is the lineage. It's our genealogy. Okay, so nobody says no Nigerians, right? We say we're not saying no Nigerians. We're not basing it on that. We're saying this money is for people who can prove their ancestors were in the 1860 census or the Freedmen's Bureau. So we're not saying no to nobody legally. We're saying this is for, so we're not saying no, we're saying yes. We're saying yes to whoever can prove their ancestry within the 1860 census, and there's other ways if you can't do that. All right. So to survive the Supreme Court, a policy must be narrowly tailored, right? Tying a check to a specific historical hurt, like 40 acres and a mule. It makes it a legal debt, not a race-based gift. Okay. So look at this Kenyan example. A man from Kenya is ethnically Kenyan, but in America, he's racially Black African American, right? That's his race. But us, as foundational Black Americans, we deserve our own ethnonym, a specific name for our ethnic group, right? So we don't want the confusion. Our ethnic name is the same as their race name. That's confusion. And then our race name is also our ethnic name. Come on, make sense of that. So you can have and you got FBAs who are Pan-African. That's okay. Like you can believe in global African supremacy, whatever, and still want to delineate and want to do right. You can do both. You can say no, because you got like George Megan, he's Pan-African, and he's doing right. He's like, no. He's for Africa and all that stuff, but he's also got his eyes on the prize, like W. Du Bois. W. Du Bois was Pan-African. Okay, but he was stuck on the prize first. He did what was right first, what was most needed, and that was the civil rights movement. So once he felt like he did enough there, he went to Africa and lived out his Pan-African dreams. Okay, so a Jamaican person identifies as Jamaican to protect their national interests. Well, we use FBA or ADOS to protect ours. It's not a hate group. It's not hate rhetoric. All right. What else? Okay, now I'm gonna play it right now. I want to prep with this. Foundation Black Americans, the lineage. We are simply doing what every other self-respecting group does, delineating. Everybody does it. If you got any self-respect, we are identifying our specific lineage for the purpose of disaggregation. We need to track the specific progress or lack thereof of the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery from the end of the Civil War through the crushing weight of Jim Crow to today. So to ignore the need for proper redress, resources, and studies for this specific group, our ethnic group, is not just insensitive, it's the ultimate Karen move. Okay, these folks are African Karens. These folks, you dig? These folks are Afro Karens. Okay, so to act like we don't deserve proper redress, resource, and studies for this specific group or ethnic group is the most disrespect, insensitive, shaming tactic, and you're the ultimate African Afro Karen. Okay, it is being dismissive of us as a people in our own homeland. That's even double disrespect, while reaping the benefits of the infrastructure our ancestors built. Okay, now, that's the proper framing before I press play. So keep that in mind. So that wasn't just for the lineage, that's for anybody that's watching this video from here on, live right now, or the next day, 10 years later. That was for everybody to have. That's a proper narrative, that's a proper framework, the proper context. Let's get into it.
In the US, and I want to wish everyone a happy Black History Month. But this Black History Month cannot be business as usual. This is not the time for surface level celebration posts. It's time for us to ask deeper, harder questions about where we stand as a people and what type of future we're building. Because something deeply troubling is happening in Black America. There is a growing movement within the Black American community.
So she's clearly reading. Now, I want to tell you how we got to be clear who's Black and who's not. I mean, as you know, I've been a proponent of this for the longest because she's throwing it around and we don't know if she's being exclusive and specifically talking to the lineage. We don't know if she's inclusive, talking to everybody. We don't know if she's exclusive, just talking to recent immigrants, because Black American fits both of us as a race. So to just throw around Black American like this, like, it confuses everybody. We have no idea because she's not being specific. Now, that foundational word, the Wheezy F baby, will let us know who she's talking about. The ADOS, the Freedmen, the Solon, the lineage, that will let us know who she's talking about. But just saying Black American, just saying African American generically, we have no idea who she's talking about. We could only assume that she's talking about us, but that could be a big mistake.
That is pushing a narrative that threatens to divide us even further if we don't challenge it head on and expose it for what it is.
Now, I would love to know who this us is, because an African is totally different from somebody from the Caribbean. Okay, people from the Caribbean, they are diasporic people. That means that they also were sold to Europeans, like Foundation Black Americans, by folks of Africa, of African descent, and living on the continent. Okay, so we have a shared history in that sense. So if the us is the Caribbean, okay, I might be listening. But if the us is including Africans, you lost me. I don't know what you're talking about when you say divide us. I never known Foundation Black Americans being united with Africans. I missed that memo. I never knew we were supposed to get along and do business and live amongst each other and intermarry. I never known that. I probably was friends with one African in my entire life. I'm 48. So this memo she's talking, this dream, it's like the Marcus Garvey dream. I have no idea what she's talking about. I missed that memo that we were supposed to be united with Africans. I had only one African friend in my entire life, and I was in the 8th grade, 7th to 8th grade. And that ended right there. Got to high school, high school kind of. You could say 9th, 10th grade, but then it was gone. Then what happened? We started to hang around Black Americans. They hung around themselves, and that's how it went. So this is a narrative she's spinning. When did Black Americans ever say our agenda was to exclusively build a relationship with random Africans from 54 countries?
They call themselves foundational Black Americans. And at the core of their rhetoric is a dangerous idea that the defining origin of Black people in America is not Africa. but enslavement. They want to convince us and the world that Black American history is somehow different from Black history in general.
I have no idea what Black history in general is. Like, she got to explain that, because Black history in general, from my studies, is only in America. Okay, so what they try to do, which is they try to be slick, and they try to use African and Black interchangeably. You cannot do that. Go Google that. Go Google, is Black and African interchangeable? The answer is emphatically no. So, but to control the narrative, they'll do that right before you. And if you don't know no better, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you'll fall for that every time. I see a lot of FBAs get tripped up when they start to mention Black and they interchangeable with African. When they interchangeable with African African, I see a lot of us get confused, and we leave the door open, and then they just walk right in, like, Johnny, I'm home, or no, here's Johnny. Okay, no. So she's using Black history like it's interchangeable or synonymous with Africa, and it's not. Okay, African history is what goes on in the continent of Africa, and when they travel the world, they're part of that history. So when they come to America, they can share their African history. Just like if we go to Africa, we go to London and Australia, we can share our Black history. But when Black history was thought of, I think it was called Negro history first, and yeah, that was solely about our unique experiences in America. Okay, our ethnogenesis experience in America had nothing to do with what goes on in Africa. No politics in Africa, no human rights, no religions, no spiritualities, no nothing. So watch the trick bag language.
And that it began with slavery. That Africa, its kingdoms, its knowledge systems, its intellectual and cultural foundations is secondary or irrelevant altogether.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. When it comes to our history, it's totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant.
Together. And that Africans and Caribbeans who came to this country, who fought, organized, built, marched, theorized, and sacrificed right alongside Black Americans, somehow do not belong to this story at all.
Okay. Now, again, this is a disingenuous woman. That's called Babu Battle. That's called Babu Babble. Babu Babble. Her last name is Babu. That's called, or one of her names is Babu. That's called Babu Babble. Okay, we're not going to act like there was a bunch of African or Caribbean immigrants fighting alongside of us within the civil rights movement. We're not going to pretend like that. We can easily get a census to see how many of them were in America in general. So we're not going to pretend because so for example, if a couple, like, let's say if ICE somehow was illegally detaining Hispanic immigrants, and then we go out, four or five of us go out there and, roadblock ICE trucks, whatever. But overwhelmingly, it was the Latino race that came together and defeated ICE and Donald Trump regime. What do we look like saying, hey, we were right alongside you? No, 4 or 5 of you was right alongside of us. Okay? Vice versa. 4 or 5 of immigrants were right along with us. Even like the Jews that were right along with us. Like, they probably did more than anybody. White people got the most to say as far as that. But so Babu starts off by playing Tariq's clip where he said he clearly expressed FBA isn't an organization you join, but an acknowledgement of the people who are the foundation of this nation. He said that. She spends this entire video treating it like a dangerous ideology. Okay, if acknowledging a 4-year-old receipt is dangerous. Okay, if that's dangerous, then that's Babu Babble. So acknowledging who built the house isn't division. It's basic accounting. It's basic a recall of history. Okay, she's throwing the word dangers out there. Nobody cares. To say our origin is in enslavement rather than Africa. She's calling that dangers. Again, she don't know what ethnogenesis is. Our ethnogenesis started in America. Okay, at the tip of slavery. And it is what it is. Okay, so Babu and others try to switch the conversation to genetics. That's what she's doing. African. No. The conversation isn't about genetics, but rather about our unique ethnogenesis in America. And our ethnogenesis is the birth of our specific ethnic groups, the birth of a nation. It happened here in America. It didn't happen in Africa. So to tell Black Americans our history must center on a continent we have never seen in generations is very dismissive of our specific experience of enslavement in Africa uh, uh, and America. Because we were enslaved in Africa, we were enslaved in America. Okay, we were sold and bought in Africa and America. Okay, like let's be very clear there. Okay. She now argues that immigrants sacrificed right alongside Black Americans, and that's not the entire story. Okay, it's weak. A handful of immigrants, and she'll name them. She'll name the handful. A handful of immigrants joined our civil rights movement led by Dr. King and other civil rights foundational Black activists. Okay, but the totality of immigrants arrived after the heavy lifting of the Civil Rights Act was done by foundational Black people. So to claim that someone who arrived in 1995, 2010, have the same claim as the civil rights activists of 1960s, we bled, we fought, we were jailed, and she's saying somehow that these guys, these immigrants, they help LBJ. Stop. You got to stop.
Let's be clear. This episode is not about denying the unique and brutal history of slavery in America.
It definitely is. You can't make that argument and say it's not the argument. You made that very clear. You should have gave that disclaimer at the beginning, but your argument is still that. You're telling us to focus on Africa and ignore our ethnogenesis in America. You definitely did that. She did that.
America. That history is real. That trauma is real. And the fight for justice rooted in that experience is legitimate. But how exactly does lineage or identity begin at the point where oppression forced you to land?
Let's talk about how we got here. Africans kidnapped us from our living spaces and sold us to Europeans. That's how we got here. And this is something they want to ignore and don't want to concede to. Yeah, our ethnogenesis started when you sold us to the Europeans. And the Europeans enslaved us. That's when our ethnogenesis, that's when we had to share history. That's when we struggled together, fought together, liberated together, established successful towns together, Jim Crow together, Black banks together, civil rights together. And today we're together. We never separated from each other.
Who were you before the first enslaved ancestor landed on U.S. soil?
That doesn't matter. What matters is where was our beginning as a people. Our beginning as a people is in America. Okay, that's all that matters. The other stuff you talking, there's no. Again, find those ancestors. Okay, because a DNA test can only trace, some genetics. You were somewhere over in the continent, but it's not naming ancestors. Our genealogical records that we have in America, those name ancestors. All of our ancestors, all of our known ancestors are in America. We have no known ancestors by name in Africa.
Today, we're breaking down this movement, what the foundational Black American ideology actually claims, why it's gaining momentum right now, why its historical framing is incomplete and false.
So I'm trying to be politically correct. So this I think she name like Babu. She got to be African. So this African is going to tell us how to tell our story. The entitlement, yeah. You can't make this up, man. You just can't.
And most importantly, why this rhetoric, if left unchallenged, puts Black unity.
I gotta stop again. Stop saying Black unity. What is that? There's never a Black unit unified nothing. Okay, and definitely not with no Africans. So you got to stop. You got to stop with the lying. There's no so-called Black unity in the Caribbean or the continent of Africa. So you got to get that right there. You got to get that right at home first. We can't respect the people who can't get it right at home first. Can't trust it.
Power and liberation at risk. Because when a narrative tells us that Black history starts with slavery, it doesn't just distort the past, it cages the future.
Okay, she's reading a teleprompt again, only because she's allowed to tag Black to Africa, tie Black to Africa. And we're not allowing that. You see how they cleverly say Black when it fits them, family? But when we say, yeah, Black, they'll say, no, African, you're African. You can't make this up. Like, they cherry pick the word African. I've been saying that. So now when they want to be all inclusive, oh, Black history, it's everybody of the universe. But the minute we say, yeah, Black history, Foundation of Black Americans, no, you're African, nigga. But you said Black. Yeah, she didn't say Africa one time when it came to uniting us. Family, they carefully, when they talk about a fake unified coalition, a unified front, they never say African. They always use the word Black and pretend like it's interchangeable with the word African. They're careful because they know once they say African, we're like, oh, the hell no.
And worse, it teaches us to fight each other.
Why? No, it doesn't. It teaches. Wait, okay, she's making some bullshit up. No, it teaches you guys to fight us. Okay, we're not fighting each other. We're going about our business. How we're fighting? You guys are like a million deep. We're 40-something million deep. Ain't no fight. Like this would be Rwanda all over again. What are you talking about? No damn fight.
Instead of the systems that trapped us.
No. The systems trapped us. You guys got no history, no long history. Your history does not go back to the GI Bill, the ADC, the AFDC. Your history does not go back to the FHA, the Federal Housing Act. Your history does not go back to the Home Loaners Corporation, HOLC. Your history does not go back to racial restrictive covenants. Your history does not go back to racial zoning laws. Okay, your history does not go back to Jim Crow, peonage system, convict leasing. Your lineage does not go back to none of that stuff. 40 acres and a mule, Freedman Banks. Your history does not go back to none of that.
This is the breakdown.
All right, let me go ahead and switch right now to my premium account because I ain't about to deal with these commercials all day. Give me a second, family. Let me switch to my premium account. Yeah, like this is so cringy, man. Am I the only one that's like cringed out? Damn. God, so I'm so cringed out. Oh, she's from no. I think that flag is Senegal. I think it's a Senegalese. I remember the flag now. I think it's a Senegalese flag. All right, so let me see. Family, are we liking the video? Yeah, we are. Thank you very much. All right, so let me switch to our premium account, and I'm gonna try to get through this. Oh my, is he just saying so many lies? It's kind of hard to just let it play out, man. I'm sorry if I keep pausing it, but I got to. I can't let her. I can't let her do that, man. I know she's lying to the lineage. Okay, hold on. Oh my gosh, she's so disgusting. Somebody said it's not but cake soap all over her. You know, the entitlement and audacity for Africans out of all people, not even the Caribbean. Like I said, that the Caribbean, like they are diasporic people like us, like the Haitians. So like we have a shared history to a degree. Like we can relate on so many different levels. Uh, Brazilians, whatever, but we can't relate to Africans like that. Like we got a whole different reality, a whole different worldview. Nah, like we're victims of the largest human trafficking scheme ever. Africa was the violators of it. Okay, and with Europeans, we got different realities. Diaspora people were victims of it. You guys were the monsters of it. Okay, let's go. No, 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 no. I seen that. I seen that. Yo, listen, family. The audio button. I didn't click it. I seen it because it goes away so fast. It's like crazy. It doesn't stay there for me to click audio. It goes away so fast. All right, let me just put the link in there in case somebody who agrees with her wants to join and defend her talking points. Okay, hold on. Stop. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this right here. Put the link in for those who agree with her or think she got some good points. Oh shit. All right, well, I can't pin it because I didn't. I switched my account. I ain't about to keep switching back and forth. I'll just paste the link again a little later for those who want to possibly defend her talking points. Or they pretend like she has a point anywhere. That link is for you. Make sure I click the audio button. I see it. I got it. Okay, I got it. It almost got me. You guys seen lives go down the drain because I didn't click that audio button. I got it.
Its core, FBA is an identity-based framework that traces Black American lineage to slavery in America. They argue that they are a distinct group and should be treated as such, separate from other people of African descent, particularly African and Caribbean immigrants.
No, not particularly. It's everybody. No. See, she's framing again. It's anybody who can. It's anybody. It's anybody. All right. So let's make that very clear. It's anybody. We are demanding to be delineated from everybody. We want to be a unique, distinct group like everybody on the planet. That's number one. And then there's an argument that's number two. And we're talking about redress, money allocations, but from an identity perspective, we want to be distinct like everybody else on the planet. Okay. So if the American government says Foundation Black Americans, you're not getting a goddamn thing. Okay, you ain't getting no money, no special resources. Go to hell. We're still delineating. Okay, we keep making that known. We're still delineating. So this ain't about Afro-Caribbeans or Africans like she's trying to make it to be. No, no, no. So she's gaslighting. She's trying to frame it like we have something against, like we're targeting Africans and Caribbean people. Very disgusting.
And their descendants. Now, the term foundational Black American was popularized in the late 2010s, largely through online platforms, social media spaces, and commentary led by figures like Tariq Nasheed. The movement presents itself as a corrective. They argue that for too long, the specific historical harms suffered by Black Americans whose ancestors were enslaved in the United States have been diluted, overlooked, or lumped together with broader Black or African diaspora narratives. And in one narrow sense, that critique resonates. U.S. chattel slavery was unique in its brutality. It was racialized. It was hereditary. It was legally codified. And it laid the economic foundation of the United States.
Yeah, she is terrible. She's a terrible reader. Like, she didn't respect us enough. She didn't respect us enough to like memorize it, go over it. She's reading stuff for the first time. She is horrible. She's a horrible reader.
States. That history deserves recognition and justice. But the FBA argument does not stop there.
But if she is now, look, they love to speak about us without us representing ourselves. Like, I see that they have this entitlement where they can frame our argument better than us. They do this often. Especially Africans. Africans get on their platforms of different countries and they act like they can represent our arguments better than us. And a lot of times we don't even agree that they're arguing our arguments correctly. We believe they're framing it like she is, trying to make us a hate group.
The movement also pushes back against the popular idea that Black American history begins in 1619.
That's a fact, though. Well, what some of us say 1526, but 1619, that's about right. Yeah, that's a fact. That's Black history.
With the arrival of enslaved Africans in Virginia. Instead, they argue that Black American history began nearly a century earlier. They point to a lesser known but historically documented moment. In 1526, Spanish colonizer Lucas Vasquez de Ayllon brought the first recorded group of enslaved Africans to what is now the South Carolina-Georgia coastline in an attempted Spanish settlement. Shortly after their arrival, those enslaved Africans revolted. They resisted captivity. They disrupted the colony, and their uprising contributed directly to the collapse of the Spanish settlement. The surviving Spaniards fled back to the Caribbean. And according to historical accounts, many of the formerly enslaved Africans were left behind.
Yeah, why is her neck moving like that as she reads? Like, yo, we know you're reading, okay? Her neck going around like it's in a circle.
Where they integrated with local Native American societies. Now, this moment matters. It represents one of the earliest acts of Black resistance on what would become U.S. soil. An early example of Black autonomy.
Watch her. She's trying to use the word Black like it's interchangeable with African. Watch her.
Survival and cultural blending. And a chapter of U.S. history that is too often excluded from mainstream narratives. And that history should be told. But here's where the FBA framework takes a sharp and dangerous turn. Instead of using this history to expand our understanding of Black origins, the movement uses...
There's no such thing as all Black origins. You're making that up. There's an Igbo origin. There's a Haitian origin. There's a Jamaican origin. There's a Brazilian origin. There's a Nigerian origin, 1901, somewhere around there. There is a Kenyan origin. There's a Ghana origin. There's no Black origin outside of America.
it to redefine the origin story itself.
There's the thing, Vlad, where people want to make us generic Africans. The term African American is a misnomer. That was a term that got popularized in 1988 by Jesse Jackson, the Congressional Black Caucus, and the Democrats. No, we as a group, we never called ourselves African American. I think the term African American was in a book in the 1700s by a black preacher.
Yeah, 1790. And this is the trap. So when I had a caller call the other day, I said, "Nah, we never called ourselves African American." Now, family, I say stuff to get them to jump up. Oh no, in 1790, I was gonna get them. But yeah, one person said it. Nobody took on that name. It's never a national identity.
Got with the guy's name.
That didn't catch on.
But that was the only time we would see that term during slavery. That was a term that we generally didn't use.
And which I have an issue with. How can we be an African American in 1790 and we didn't have citizenship? That's why when I challenged Reverend Reggie, I'm like, I don't know if that is an accurate writing. Because why would we be called American before 1865? Like none of us called ourselves American before 1865. We were free blacks and Negroes and colored and things like that. We were not American. This is why Dred Scott, a lot of people, this is why slavery was legal. There were no Black Americans before 1865. See, with family, I think I know history pretty well. That's why I'm like, that doesn't make sense for somebody to call us American before. I mean, first of all, in 1790, there was no thought of us becoming American and slavery being abolished. 1790, we thought we were going to be enslaved for generations to come, maybe 1,000 years. We had no thought, no clue, no inkling that the abolishment of slavery will happen almost a century later. We had no clue. So that writing is, I don't know, man. I got to research that. That's questionable.
Really, it didn't get popular until the late 80s. And the term was given to us, and that term was given to us to make us comparable to immigrants. It was to say that we're just like an Italian American. We're just like a Mexican American. So
yeah, that's the quote of Jesse Jackson. Like he said, he would liken us to other folks that have the hyphenated name. But you know what's interesting, family? White people did not have a hyphenated name. They were called white people, white Americans. Or the white people, white stood alone. You would say a white man, white woman. You didn't even have to say American. You could say the whites, right? Oh, somebody white. Who did it? Somebody white. Who deleted that person, or who did that heinous act with a dog, or whatever? We're like, somebody white. There's no hyphenation there. And we were, because they're seen as nativists to the country. We are seen as nativists to the country, so we don't need a hyphenated name. We're just black. They're just white as nativists to America, and we are black as nativists of America. The hyphenated name is for those who are not nativists to America. They were labeled as new immigrants and old immigrants.
That was to basically almost sanitize our unique history here. And that worked against us. The term African American is a misnomer. Elon Musk is an African American.
Right.
You know?
South African American.
Yeah, but African American still.
Correct.
There's a lot of people from places like the Sudan and other places who are African Americans. And, you know, they'll have a lot of vitriol towards us here. So the term African American is a misnomer. So we wanted a term that was more indicative of who we were and who we are. And that's where Foundational Black American comes from.
Rather than situate.
Okay, so before she even go, family, she just went all the way to 1526. So she knows that our foundations are in this country. They're not in Africa. She went down to 1526. So to argue about Africa is insane. This is why we be waiting for them to call in our spaces with this argument. Like we be like, no, let me get her. Like I would love for somebody to, I know she'll never call in, she's a coward, but I would love for somebody that represents her argument to use her talking points over here once this show is over, I'll throw the link in the chat for those people, not the family, because y'all be here. I ain't trying to be here too late. But for somebody who have questions about our stance, I got the link for you after the show.
These early Africans as part of a long African civilizational continuum with languages, cultures, technologies, and histories that existed long before they ever.
I'm sorry, I keep pausing, but for her to move around like she's not reading is pissing me off. We know you're reading.
Counter Europeans, the FBA framework increasingly treats enslavement and resistance on American soil as the starting point of identity.
You're damn right. And the Jamaicans do it, Brazilians do it, Mexicans do it, Sudanese people do it. Everybody does it. Eritreans, right? Aren't they part of Ethiopia? But guess when Eritrean history starts? It don't start back in Ethiopia. They were part of Ethiopia at one point. But once they became Eritrean, their history started there. Ukrainians, their history started there. This is normal. American. Family, the contradiction is American. So why aren't Americans acknowledged as Britons? So according to her logic, there's no such thing as a white American. They're all Brits. Didn't 1776 is America. That's the birth date of America. 1865 is literally the birth date of a Black American, but of course we go prior to that. We were Black and Negro before that. But I'm saying 1865 is the birth date of the Black American. We were not American before then, or 1868 when we technical.
And from that framing, another claim emerges. Many FBA proponents argue that they are the foundational builders of this nation.
Oh, yeah.
That Black Americans descended from U.S. slavery are not just central, but exclusive to the Black struggle in America.
That's right.
And this is where the danger deepens.
Sure.
Because that argument quietly asks us to forget something critical.
Like what?
It asks us to overlook the fact that many of the most influential figures in Black liberation, culture, and political thought were immigrants or children of immigrants.
That's a lie. They're not the most influential. You're lying. You're lying. And even then, they're over here to signal boost our continuing ethnogenesis. They're here to signal boost what we got going on. Okay, this is our thing. They came over here to be a loud voice for us. That's like your lawyer who's representing you in court can now act like he's part of your last name of your family. Like he's an honorary descendant because he represented you in court. No. No. This is the disrespect, family. 4 immigrants. Voices, according to her, 4 immigrants is equal to 20-something million foundation Black Americans. 4 immigrants are equal to 20-something million voices. But go ahead and tell us about these activists, I can cook them.
Of African descent, some of whom also had ancestors enslaved in the Americas. Marcus Garvey, Harry Belafonte.
Wait, start with Marcus Garvey. I know you ain't do Marcus Garvey. Oh my God, I know you ain't do Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey was a scammer. He tried to undermine us and repeal everything we worked for, and then complete the mission of the ACS. The ACS, that stands for the American Colonization Society. What were they doing before Emancipation Proclamation? Okay, they were trying to discourage enslaved people from seeking freedom and rebellion. And rebellion. So their goal was to establish a colony in Liberia and send all of the current free Blacks there. There was about 300 to 500,000 free Blacks in America, mostly up north, and they were trying to send them to Liberia out of the country altogether because they didn't want to give them civil rights. and a lot of black people were being traveled right by their slave handlers to free states, trying to get them and get them out. But we were smart enough to know we're in a free state, so we would sue for our freedom. That was the law. So Biddy Mason won. Dred Scott lost. Okay, so they were tired of that, and they knew that we were getting close to, like, because again, Biddy Mason won. So they're looking like, oh shit, we gotta get these folks out of here. They're about to start something crazy. So the ACS, they tried, it fell short because of the Civil War. Before the Civil War, we got citizenship, so now they can't, try that F stuff. They can't try that. So, but anyway, Marcus Garvey tried to continue that mission with his UNIA organization. He tried to get us to trick us back to believe repatriation to Liberia is the move. He met with the Klan. He joined the Klan. Okay, that was a big no-no. He scammed us with stock sales. He defrauded the government. He scammed us, Black Americans. He was selling. He owned ships he never owned. He altered photos, and made the ship, misrepresented the ship. False advertisement. He had to believe in. He had ships. He made the ships look glorious and luxurious, but he did not own that picture. He did not own that ship. He lied to us, said he owned it, and we sent him, or we bought more stocks for that ship he never owned. And then he was talking all this rah-rah about repatriating us to Liberia, but all the time Liberia said, "Don't come over here." There was a clear message to Marcus Garvey by Liberia. They said, "Do not come over here." And with that message being clear to Marcus Garvey, he still sold the dream that we will be repatriated to the motherland, Liberia, after he knew for a fact that dream was a nightmare. Liberia said, "Do not come here. You have no right being here." Okay? And like I said, in spite of that, he still sold the dream that he's going to take it to Liberia. Now, he lost $700,000 in his Black Star Line. His business is bankrupt, right? And he's still selling stocks, and he's lying in his ledger. He's lying in his paper, saying how prosperous his company is. They're bankrupt, and he's selling stock for a bankrupt company. That's a scammer. Who else you got?
Kwame Ture.
Okay, Kwame Ture. He was notable for saying Black Power. He joined our movement, and he used our words and said Black Power, right? Then 20, 30 years later, he came back and joined Jesse Jackson and said, "Screw Black Power, it's all about African Americans." So he killed his legacy in America. He helped sell African American over Black. So he dropped the Black Power stuff. He said, "Nah, I'm African American." Or no, he didn't say he was. He said Black Americans are African American. So he helped promote for African American with Jesse Jackson. So he's done. Who else?
CLR James, Louis Farrakhan.
Yeah, she just naming people. Yeah, wait. Ma'am. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with Caribbean people helping out Foundation Black Americans. There's nothing wrong with Minister Louis Farrakhan fighting on the side of Black Americans. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with Stokely Carmichael, even though he switched up on us, fighting for us or fighting along the side of us. There's nothing wrong with other folks speaking up for us and fighting on alongside with us. We encourage that. They're called riders. We have no problem with that. But it's still our show. It's still our movement. It's still our ethnicity at the end of the day. All right. They're just helping, but it's still ours, right? So we don't share it. They got to go back to their homeland at some point. They have a homeland to look at. This is our homeland. So they're in our homeland helping us fight our fight. But you're not entitled to what's ours. Farrakhan's not getting reparations. Nobody she named is entitled to reparations. All right.
Ivan Van Sertima, Cicely Tyson.
let me help you out. So you want to do this? Do this. What about Idris Elba? What's his name? Let's just keep naming random immigrants. Bad Bunny, Drake. God, you can just name Cicely Tyson. Hey, Burning Boy. We can just name random immigrants. Vibes Cartel and Fidel Castro. God damn.
Shirley Chisholm, and countless others.
No. Ain't no countless others, because if it was countless others, you couldn't even name them.
Because their lineage does not fit a narrow definition. Are we really going to say that these figures who shaped Black consciousness, civil rights, political representation, Pan-African thought, culture, and global solidarity were somehow outside the Black American struggle?
No, we're saying they're outside the Black American lineage. Okay, we're saying they are outside the Black American lineage. You had white people also fighting on the side of us. You forgot, more than immigrants. You had Jewish people fighting on the side of us. And guess what? They're not foundation Black Americans either.
Because history tells a very different story.
No, it doesn't. Same story.
Black liberation in America has always been diasporic.
No. Black liberation in America has been foundation Black American, starting all the way back with Frederick Douglass and beyond him. Okay, diasporic, again, that's a tricky word, because America, we're part of the diaspora. So yes, diasporic, but it's not diasporic inclusive. The fight here been us. There was a handful, and I could go somewhere else, but I'm not going to do it tonight.
Always global, always interconnected, from abolition to civil rights, from labor movements to cultural revolutions. Black progress in America was never achieved in isolation.
What are you talking about? She's making up shit now.
So when foundational begins to mean exclusive, when recognition turns into boundary policing, when justice becomes a zero-sum identity contest, we're no longer talking about history. We're talking about fragmentation.
We're talking about delineation, okay? We're not even talking about history. You're talking about history. We're talking about delineation. Delineation has nothing to do with history and what you're talking about. Delineation is drawing a line and identifying who is who and who's not who. That's it.
And fragmentation has never led to freedom.
That's a goddamn lie. That's a goddamn lie, okay? Fragmentation leads to freedom. Okay? Remember when the Haitians revolted against the French, and then the Spanish try to come in there on the back end? Didn't the Haitians join the French against the Spanish? They joined their ops against the Spanish, and then they fragmented away from the French all over again, and then got their freedom. Stop it.
So now let's rewind the clock. Not to 1619, not to 1526, but thousands of years earlier. Because here's the fundamental problem with any framework that treats slavery as...
Hey, family, the only time they could big up Africa is in 7,000 BC, whatever y'all, that BC, DC stuff. That's the only time. Let's talk about Egypt. Here we go to Egypt.
The beginning of Black history. It accepts, whether intentionally or not, the same logic that enslavers used. The logic that said, you had no history before we encountered you. You had no civilization before we claimed you.
Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, that ain't Black history. That's African history. You're talking about the continent of Africa, right? Yeah, that's African history. So you got Chinese history. Your history starts where you're at. Irish history with the potato famine. Yeah, so your history starts where you're at. You got neo-Nazi history. Don't that started in Germany? Right. So you're talking about African history. That started over in Africa.
You became a people only after we broke you. That is not just historically false, it is psychologically damaging. Before a single African was forced onto a ship, Africa was not a blank space on the map. It was one of the most advanced and interconnected regions.
Oh, now we going to Dreamville. Ma'am, you were selling Africans. We're going to skip past that part. We're going to skip past the Dahomey, Queen Nzinga, the Benin, Ivory Coast. We're going to skip past all that now and talk about the Gold Coast of Ghana. We got to go thousand. Can we talk about how great Africa was in the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s? No, you cannot. You got to go back 8,000 years ago.
On Earth. Africa had complex systems of governance, global trade networks, universities and centers of learning, architecture, astronomy, medicine, written and oral knowledge traditions passed down for centuries. Empires rose and fell. Kings ruled. Cities flourished.
Kings rule? Oh, damn. The kings and queens. Here we go. We were kings and queens.
And not in isolation. Africa traded with Europe, the Middle East, and Asia long before.
They sure did. They traded us. You got that right. They definitely traded with Europe. That's the problem. They were trading with our ops, both our ops.
For colonialism, yes. Gold from West Africa powered European economies.
Right. You're in bed with each other. So, family, in one breath, oh, Africa's your brother. The European is the big bad monster. That's the boogeyman. But then she's bragging about Africa doing business and empowering Europeans.
Scholars from across the world traveled to African centers of learning. African states negotiated, fought wars, signed treaties, and shaped global history. This matters because people do not emerge from nowhere.
Family, these Africans are literally like African Karens. She talked about Garvey, Carmichael, Chisholm, Larry Belafonte. I mean, I don't know what that got to do with delineation, but that is literally, when she mentioned those people, family, that is equivalent to a white man saying, I ain't racist. I got a black friend. And that's so Karen. What are you doing? Oh, they fought alongside you. Thank you. We're still delineating. That's necessary. Now she's talking about kings and queens. Princess Amumba. Wakanda's next.
The Africans who were taken to the Americas did not arrive as blank slates. They arrived with languages, spiritual systems, agricultural knowledge, metalworking skills, political memory. Slavery did not create Black people. It disrupted them. And when Black history is framed as beginning with enslavement, something...
Oh, that's 100% accurate. Black history started over here, and African history started in Africa. Jamaican history started in Jamaica. Haitian history started in Haiti. And Brazilian history started in Brazil. That's 100% accurate.
Dangerous happens. Africa becomes mythology instead of history. Civilization becomes symbolism instead of fact. And Black people are unconsciously positioned as a people whose identity begins with subjugation. That is not accidental. Colonial systems depended on history.
Oh, now it's back to colonial systems. Oh my God. You just said y'all sold gold to them. Why are you selling gold to a colonial system? You're funding the colonial system once again.
Historical amnesia. Because if you convince a people that their past begins in chains, You make it harder for them to imagine a future.
That's her throwing shots. Oh, ends and chains. Man, we're not ashamed about our history, fam. Man, we're not ashamed. We know we were backdoored. Okay, we ended up in chains because we were backdoored by Africans. So make no mistake. She's basically arguing that if we center our history, which is well documented, and it is chattel slavery. You guys backdoored us, and our history started in chattel slavery over here. Okay, that don't make Africa mythology. That's called Babu. It's actually called centering our unique history in America, just as Haitians center their unique history, 1804 revolution. Lineage Black Americans, we don't know nothing about the kings and queens you just listed. Okay, that's mythology. All right. Don't forget, these kings and queens sold us to white teeth. All right. So we ain't gonna act like that ain't happened. Now you notice that she's telling history, and she didn't say that one time. We'll give her time, but so far she didn't talk about the transatlantic slave trade at all. She went right to thousands of years ago. Man, can you go back to the 14, 15, 1600s?
Rooted in power. Which brings us to the next essential question. Why is this rhetoric gaining momentum now? To understand why the foundational Black American rhetoric is gaining traction today, we have to step back and look at the conditions, not just the ideology. Because movements don't rise in a vacuum. They rise in moments of pressure. And Black America right now is under pressure. We're living through a period where economic inequality is widening. Upward mobility is...
Hey, family, this is her throwing shots, right? So keep in mind, like, she's being passive aggressive, okay? She's throwing shots with her ugly smile. Look at that face right there. Oh my God, yo, that cake so wonderful.
Shrinking. Political protections are being rolled back. And the promises made after the civil rights era feel increasingly unfulfilled.
Oh, no, we over that. What are you talking about? Like, we've been over that. What are you talking about promises? Like, we was over that once we realized the coded language, minority. Matter of fact, once they use a system to disproportionate cause a wealth gap, and they wouldn't use the system in reverse to undo the wealth gap. Once we knew they did the trick bag, well, listen, Black folks, you can't argue that racism is bad and then say you want to use that bad to make it right. That can't happen. Bad is bad. So yeah, white folks use racism to create this wealth gap that can never be closed. But you just said racism is bad, so we can't use the racism to close the white gap. Sorry. Two wrongs will make it right. Once we realized that was where they were going, man, we were good.
For many Black Americans, especially those whose families have been in this country for generations, the question feels unavoidable.
What other Black American has, wait, say that again?
Inequality is widening. Upward mobility is shrinking. Political protections are being rolled back. And the promises made after the civil rights era feel increasingly unfulfilled. For many Black Americans, especially those whose families have been in this country for generations.
Which Black American haven't had families in this country for generations? Like, you just said something crazy.
Question feels unavoidable. We did everything we were told to do. So why are we still here?
Hold on, what are you talking about? When did white people tell us to do something, we did it. Be nice.
That frustration is real, and it deserves to be acknowledged.
This is a straw man argument, and she's gaslighting.
And add to that the visible rise of Black immigrants achieving success in business, politics, culture, entertainment. The way institutions often flatten all Black people into one category.
Okay, these successful Africans you're talking about, these are the top 10% of their country. These ain't no ordinary refugees. Look at the refugees and look at the hyper selected ones. The refugees, what they get involved in? Crime, scamming, you dig, all type of stuff. They get deported, right? So no. Yeah, the hyper selected ones, the ones that come over here in small numbers, they're doing well. They're supposed to. They're hyper select. They come in here with education already, and they're coming here with money already. So like they have a huge advantage. They come in here as doctors and whatever else, but they're hyper selected. These are the top 10% of their country. There's nobody doubted they wouldn't thrive wherever they go. Now, if you take our top 10% and bring us to Nigeria, I guarantee we'll fix Nigeria. If you take our top 10% and bring them to Nigeria, don't forget our top 10% would be Byron Allen. It'd be many people in wealthy positions to like make moves, right? The brainiacs and could get stuff done. If we go to Nigeria, we'll fix Nigeria overnight. Now, can you imagine our top 10% calling Nigerians lazy because they're not on their level? They came there already rich. Oh, you guys are just lazy. You got to work hard. Yeah, but you didn't work hard. You came here already wealthy and educated.
And the ongoing failure of the U.S. government to meaningfully address reparations. In that environment, identity hardens. When resources feel scarce, people begin to ask, who belongs? Who benefits? Who gets counted? And this is where FBA rhetoric begins to feel attractive to some, because it offers a clear boundary. Only we should receive reparations, not the others.
Wait, yeah, why would you? That's like the Sweden people who are also Europeans telling the Jewish people who were Holocaust, no, we need reparations too because we're both white. That's like the Irish flying to Germany, like, yo, what's up with all this money being handed out? I mean, her arguments are so weak, but she's reading something.
It offers a sense of ownership, a promise of recognition. It says we're not just Black, we are foundational. This country was built on our backs, and we deserve first claim.
No, we deserve our stake in the country, not first. Wait, what you mean first claim? What's the second claim of reparations? Okay, you just said reparations and a first claim. What is the second claim? There's no second. What are you talking about? There's no hand. There's no leftovers.
And emotionally, that lands because when systems fail people for generations, exclusivity can feel like protection. But here's the problem. What feels like...
Let me tell you the problem. Those failures are being masked. Like you just talked about the immigrants who's over here who got some success. See, what happens is that the failures can't be properly addressed and dealt with if those immigrants you named are being lumped up with us. So those failures are becoming not so failish because the success of immigrants are being thrown on top of it. So it's looking like there's not really it's not that bad. It's looking like it's not really that bad. And we're like, no, we see the finesse. So she is, of course, clueless to the reparations, a reparations claim, and most people are. Just for the chat. Chat, our economists, our politicians, we looked at the numbers. We realized the wealth gap is so far. Okay, now what she did not do, she did not talk about the exclusion and intrusion. She didn't talk about how we were excluded from all of the resources and money that white people were afforded to, and that created their generational wealth with home ownership. She didn't say that. She didn't talk about the GI Bill. Our vets was excluded. that shaped the wealth gap a certain way. All she's like low key disrespecting us. Oh, failures, like we just failed, like we were not successful and stripped of our finances, undermined, and urban renewal, highway, torn our neighborhoods apart, burn our wealthy cities down. She's ignoring all that. She's purposely framing it as we're just failing, and these immigrants, these recent immigrants, they come over here being successful, and yeah, man, resources are scarce, and yeah, you guys are desperate right now. We see right through that.
Protection in moments of pressure often becomes isolation in moments that require collision. History shows us this again and again. When groups retreat into narrower definitions of identity during periods of decline, the result is rarely empowerment. It's fragmentation. And fragmentation is exactly what oppressive systems rely on.
Oh boy.
Let's be honest about something else. This rhetoric is also gaining traction because Black history itself is under attack. As schools remove African history from curricula, as museums soften the language.
There's no African history in America. African history is in Africa.
Language of slavery and colonialism, as public discourse.
We don't know anything about colonialism. That's an African problem. That's African history. African history, they talk about colonialism, okay? And it's actually their fault. Their chickens came home to roost.
Treats words like systemic and structural as threats. People rush to defend something. But here's the danger. When history is under assault, people sometimes respond by shrinking it instead of expanding it. They grab into what feels closest, you see, what feels most provable, what feels most immediate. And for many, that becomes American trauma. But trauma alone cannot sustain.
Yeah, notice like Dr. Ruxpin. Yeah, all of them tell us, oh, now FBAs, oh my God, Black Americans, you are so traumatized. Oh my God, you need medicine, you need a therapist. You guys not in your right mind. But everybody else is though. The Haitians, they're fine. Jamaicans fine. Brazilians fine. And all of the Africans in Africa, they're fine. Ma'am, you forgot to mention that everybody you mentioned, their success is in America. Why can't they expand that success in their homelands? Why when they get education and money from their homeland, why do they leave? Why they don't build it up? Charity starts at home, I thought.
People. It explains pain, but it does not generate vision. And this is where the moment becomes especially risky. Because the same forces erasing Black history from the outside are quietly benefiting from Black people redefining themselves in narrower.
No. We know Black and African is not interchangeable, so that's not working. Just say Black people and say Africans. That's all.
In narrower terms on the inside. And let me be clear. This is what they want. Exactly what they want.
Oh my God. Okay, family. This is more disrespect. This is what they want. Now, she never clarified who they is. We heard her say colonists earlier. We heard her say Europeans, but she don't clarify the they. And then what they want, check this out. What they want, we're the only people who are vulnerable to fall for the agenda of they. So that's another disrespect. Like Black Americans, we're just so gullible. We fall for the they people all the time. But Africans, they know better. They're wise. They're not gonna fall for the they. Caribbean, they're wise. They won't fall for the they. Just Black Americans, you're gonna always fall for the agenda of white supremacy. You are a gullible people. Stop. We're the only people who fought white supremacy and still fight them today. You guys flee and come here. You don't fight.
If Black identity is confined to American suffering, then Black solidarity stops at American borders.
There's no such thing as Black solidarity. not foreign, not for foreigners.
And global black power dissolves.
No such thing as global black power. You gotta be specific. You said let's be clear. You're gonna be clear, so be clear there. There's no such thing as black solidarity in a global sense. That's only a national sense.
Which leads us to the next critical issue.
Go ahead.
If this rhetoric continues to grow unchecked, what are the long-term dangers?
I know Byron, and I've always gotten along with him. He's super cheerful. I didn't realize, is he ideological?
All right, so I'm going to skip past this part. This is what they all do. They will sit here and try to use Tucker Carlson as to say this is guilt by association, because Tucker Carlson acknowledges our foundational history, and respects our foundational contributes in this country. All of a sudden, oh, see, it must be no good because we don't like Tucker Carlson. He's a extremist and he's terrible, and we don't like him. And if he acknowledges your lineage as worthy of respect, then it must be garbage. You know, like I said, this is the guilty by association. So if Tucker Carlson says 2 + 2 is 4, that's wrong too, right? So in their minds, like these weird people, they really believe that everything that Republicans and conservatives say, everything they say is wrong. And guess what? The conservatives and the Republicans feel the same way about Democrats and liberals. They believe everything they say is wrong. Listen, we're not getting in the middle of y'all little banging out. Okay, that's between y'all. Y'all don't give each other credit. Y'all don't give each other flowers. That's y'all beef. But y'all ain't about to tie us into y'all beef. Now, if it was Kamala giving us credit on these Black Americans, we would accept that. So we're not being biased. We're not cherry picking. You know. So no, that doesn't work. So let me skip past this because she's gonna say something really dumb, and I ain't about to be gaslighted. I'm trying to be nice, and that's gonna upset me.
It turns shared struggle something to police, and suddenly, instead of asking, how do we dismantle the systems that harm us all? The question becomes, who deserves more help?
Wait, what? Did she just say we? Yeah, our entire existence in America have been about dismantling the system. Wait, when you guys come over here, that's not on your agenda. You guys are here to promote immigration laws. When you come over here, is she crazy? No immigrant come over here and say, how do we dismantle the system? They know that's a quick ticket to their homeland, or Venezuela, or Eswatini, or Alcatraz. They know goddamn well that's far from their agenda to be against the system. Like, stop it.
Who belongs? Who counts? That's scarcity politics.
You call it what you want to call it. We're delineating, all right? And we're moving forward.
And scarcity politics always benefit those already in power.
Mm-hmm.
Because while Black people argue over lineage, guess what?
Wait. We're not arguing over lineage. We know our lineage. We know our genealogy. We're not arguing. Again, like she doesn't even know our argument. She's not even respectful to understand. Well, she don't want to know it because she read it from a teleprompter. We're not arguing about lineage. We know our lineage. That's not the argument. The argument is stop lumping us up, stop diluting us, stop lumping us up with every Tom, Dick, and Bob that come to the country. No, like you're not going to disrespect our unique, distinct group, our ethnic group. You're not going to do that while other folks are preserved. It's not going to happen. That's an undermining attempt of systemic racism, white supremacy. No, we're not supposed to fight against white supremacy no more. No, like you guys are used as pawns, and some of you know it, some of you
The
don't.
systems that created inequality remain untouched. And there's also the danger of rewriting history in a way that shrinks Black power. When Black Americans are framed as the sole foundational builders of the nation,
Yeah, right.
something critical is lost.
What's lost?
Not pride, but accuracy.
Okay, let's be accurate. Hey, the foundation was built way before most immigrants came to this country. The foundation was built before a lot of the European immigrants came here. It's not just what are you just talking about. See, this is gaslighting and reframing. The foundation was built long before Chinese people came over here in the 1880s. What are you talking about?
Because Black progress in America was never achieved alone. It was.
Family. There she go. Now she's being disrespectful. Okay, so now look at the words. She said the foundation, and now she left it to Black progress. Well, Black progress was pretty much alone. 4 or 5 people, we're still alone. Okay, now if you talk about millions of people helping us out, okay, we can honor that. But 4 or 5 people, now we're alone. We're alone. This is coffee, and that 4 or 5 represents milk. No, this is still a black cup of coffee. There ain't enough to turn this black coffee white. No. See, right now she's being disrespectful. But look at the change of words. She was saying foundational, and you guys weren't the only ones to help with Black progress. Wait, but how do we get to Black progress? Black progress is what? That's a whole century later. Wait a minute, we were talking about 2 centuries later. Damn near. We're talking about the foundation. Remember why did you talk about foundation and then try to make foundation interchangeable with Black progress? And what do we do?
Advanced through diasporic thought, immigrant leadership. Because Black progress in America was never achieved alone.
Yeah, but you were talking about foundations earlier. How we get to Black progress?
It was advanced through diasporic thought, immigrant leadership.
That's a lie. That was not advanced. You're lying. You're lying.
Pan-African organizing, international pressure.
Wait, stop. Is this woman crazy? Is this woman crazy? Is she crazy? Yeah, I'm like lost for words now.
And global Black solidarity.
No such thing as global Black solidarity. You're lying. What year? Y'all know my question. What year? What year? Because you got to say 1960s, and I'm gonna say, well, what was going on in Africa with the African liberation movements? What's going on in 1960s? What's going on in the Caribbean with their Federation liberation movement? Nothing. They all flopped and failed. So you can't talk about some solidarity, which ain't black. It ain't black. Black is here, but you're talking about African and Caribbean solidarity. That never happened. They flopped in 3 or 4 years.
From abolition to civil rights to anti-colonial movements, Black freedom struggles were interconnected.
Okay, listen, family, I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. Abolitionists and this and that. I'm just like, wait, what? Okay, she's just talking. She's reading from a prompt and
cross borders. To suggest otherwise is not just misleading, it weakens the historical blueprint that actually worked. Because every major gain Black people have made came through coalition, not isolation. My people, oppressive systems do not need to defeat united people. They only need to wait for fragmentation.
Wait. So a handful of immigrants that joined our movement, and you're saying they would sit on behalf of their country? Is that her claim? Or you're saying Trinidad of Tobago sent Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, on behalf of Trinidad? Are you saying Garvey was sent on behalf of Jamaica? But these guys were lone wolves. They were not acting on behalf of their country. And Garvey was a scammer. That's the wrong name to bring up.
When Black communities fracture along lines of lineage, nationality, immigration status, authenticity, power shifts away from systems and toward internal policing. Energy that should be directed at wealth extraction, political accountability, policy change, gets spent on proving who is Black enough.
Because this is a disrespectful way to water down our position. And this is why we got to get away from people like this. This is why we got to get away. Like, all she is doing is reaffirming delineation. Go harder. Signal boost more. Tap in with Unbiased Ron more often. When I go live tomorrow, tap in. So with this type of hatred, this hate speech is doing, this should bring solidarity within the lineage. We should feel more obligated. Because I keep telling you guys, the more numbers we get, the more people pop up. This channel is built on inviting opposition, inviting controversial opposition, adversity from other folks who disagree with our talking points, right? This channel is built on. This channel is a debating, confrontational channel. Other channels are great, but they're not centered on confrontation. This channel is centered on confrontation. The link will be sent again. Like, yeah, we want to talk to people like her. You dig? You notice, I don't think a white supremacist ever called here one time. We had a Latino call in one time, but we ain't never have a white supremacist that I can recall ever calling this channel. So no, we can't focus on white tea. White tea don't focus on us. It's you guys. Most of the pushback I got from this channel have been Jamaicans. Jamaicans been the main people who will call here and express their disagreement, express their disrespect. It's been mainly Jamaicans more than anybody on this channel. I can't speak for the channels.
History shows us exactly where that leads. Nowhere. Not to freedom, but to stagnation.
Man, we're already free. Where are you? You're on a different planet. We're free. What are you talking about? We're not fighting for freedom. We're fighting to get paid and get respected. That freedom stuff is done. That's done.
Now, before anyone walks away thinking that
yeah, she think this speech is she think we in like 19, 18, 40. Man, this speech is almost 200 years too late. This speech should have came around 1840.
this is a one-sided conversation, we need to tell the full truth, okay? Because this critique of the FBA movement is not coming only from Africans or Caribbean people.
Yes, it is. And there's no FBA movement. I just said all my calls have came from about 2-3 Latinos, they were lying. And everybody else was from the Caribbean. And I think we got a few Africans, but I never had a white supremacist calling it that I could think of.
People. A growing number of
or even a suspected white supremacist ain't even calling it.
African Americans themselves, celebrities, scholars, activists, and everyday people have been openly pushing back against this framework. And that matters. Let's take a look at this clip of D.L. Hughley pushing back against the idea.
We didn't call ourselves Black, they did. We didn't tell ourselves. They told us who we were. They told us remember at one point in America, one drop of Black blood made you Black.
Okay, no, they make you black. Yeah, they were using that terminology. Made you Negro or something like that. But 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 D.L. Hughley, what makes this is a comedian? Like, what makes there was just no background of ever being somebody wise in like politics or history. So no, we called ourselves black in 1960. Like you didn't know about the Black Power movement.
And now the very people that made us black are telling us what black is.
Right. Not
So
black enough.
I can understand the argument.
No. They're not telling what black is. We're telling them what black is. We talking. All right. Okay. So this was an L.
I don't buy into it. I don't agree with it, because I think, if you look at the diaspora, they went all over. Every place that didn't have black people indigenously came from the slave trade.
Yo, why this dude moving like he's zesty?
So we all had the same fight. I remember I used to go to Jamaica years ago, and they had Africa, Jamaica, and America on a T-shirt that said,
yeah, this dude aged badly. Oh my God.
One blood. And I didn't have black people indigenously came from the slave trade. So we all had the same fight. I remember I used to go to Jamaica years ago, and they had Africa, Jamaica, and America on a T-shirt that said,
you heard that? African, Jamaica, and America on a T-shirt. Where's the word black? Exactly. They're conveniently black when they come here.
They're one blood. And I think that this fragmentation, although I understand the passion behind the argument, I think that we are one collective, and I think dividing us, it's like having a no peeing section in a pool. Like it's the I don't get,
you don't get pee on you. Someone
I don't
pees
get how I don't get how it works.
Now take a look at this clip of Michael Jai White reacting to the FBA movement when he learned about it, because I thought his response hit the nail on the head.
People like to
Hold on. All of our pushback is people that's been interviewed by Vlad. Yo, all of our sources are people that's interviewed by Vlad. Listen, they call Vlad the police. They call Vlad, are you serious? Vlad's your source? Vlad TV is your source? Yeah, this is definitely a bad look for her. They all on Vlad.
Nasheed, which is one of the loud voices in this, in this movement, they create very much of a divide between American black people and black people of foreign descent.
Okay.
So.
Now, he just lied. He said we created divide. That's lying. That's lying. So again, he's purposely misrepresenting what delineation is. This aggregation is explicit representation. He's purposely misrepresenting it. Divide, but we're attacking.
They call them tethers, even. That's one of the terms they use.
Okay, look. See how this devil lying? So we call Caribbean and Africans tethers. He's lying. We don't call a whole nothing one word a negative word. He's lying. We call individuals who behave unbecoming to the lineage, we call them tethers, not the whole.
About like Jamaican Americans or, Africans who live in this country and so forth.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of this. What's your take when it comes to this? And there's always been this kind of interesting, divide between Black Americans and Africans who live here and so forth.
Now look, so a white guy frames divide, and Tariq said this, Tariq said that, divide. So he already framed it in a negative sense.
Black immigrants, essentially.
No such thing as black immigrants.
I heard about this. I think I heard about this like 20 seconds ago. So I don't know anything about it. I can't really comment on that. I haven't spoken to Tariq in a minute. I wish I had. I owe him a call. We haven't talked in a while, but he's somebody who's been welcome at the house. Been at the house several times. I've been in his house, but it sounds like we are long overdue. But I don't like anything that's in a division type of thing to be first and foremost. I think there's been long enough division. I think we should all unite.
Yeah, D.L. Hughley, when I brought this up, he said,
yeah. So what? Why they can't unite? why they can't unite in their homelands, and then and why do we got so we should unite with 54 countries in Africa and 3,000 islands in the Caribbean? Why? And to do what?
That it's about as effective as peeing in a pool and trying to keep it separate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm-hmm.
you could say it's separate, but we're all affected by the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the other term is ADOS, American descendants of
You are the thing we're affected by, my guy.
slavery. That's another term that's been used. Listen, I'm an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've always been pro-immigrant.
Mm.
I mean, I feel like, you know, I've talked about this with various people, like, you know, like DL. It's like, if the cops pull you over, do they know the difference between, are you a foundational Black American or a Jamaican?
Oh boy, here goes the question. I'm a cook.
Like, are you going to be treated differently one way or another?
Mm.
Are you going to be treated better if they realize it or not? Or is everyone pretty much in the same boat?
People spend a lot of energy on shit that, to me, is inconsequential.
Right. So Vlad is being a Cameron.
Maybe it's wrong of me to just kind of paint it with that brush, but it sounds ridiculous. On the surface, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds like putting a lot of energy into things that I don't think are very progressive. I don't know, but
I don't see it as progressive either.
To actually put energy into designating something like, okay, what's your end game?
Well, I mean, listen, Tariq, that's his platform, and it's his
prove that there's
know or care whether you're what's the end game. Michael Jai White did here, whether intentionally or not, was expose the core weakness of this entire framework. He asked the one question that matters. What's the end game?
I got you. That's an easy answer.
He said, I don't like anything that's about division. If the cops pull you over, do they know or care whether you're FBA or Jamaican or African?
Let me address that. So this is the peak of Karenism, okay? We're not concerned. When I say we, I'm talking about the lineage. Foundation Black Americans, ADOS, freedmen, American freedmen. We're not concerned about a dirty cop differentiating us, drawing a distinction between us. We don't care about a dirty cop perspective, how you look at us. If you look at us all the same or differently, we don't care. We don't put value in a dirty cop's ability to distinguish us from each other. That's first and foremost. Okay. All that matters is that we're making the distinctions, not the police officer. Okay. The police officers don't have power to make distinctions. We're making the distinction. And we're making the distinction through delineation. And it has nothing to do with a dirty police officer. Okay? All right. So we don't care about who doesn't know who is who. We're going to make it known who is who. And that's going to be through delineation. What's the end game? They ask, what's the end game? The end game is complete disaggregation and explicit representation. That's the end game. And once that's done, we can get things done. So delineate is a start game. Disaggregate is the end game. There you go. Complete disaggregation, complete self-representation, or I should say explicit representation. That's the end game. The start game is delineation. The end game is disaggregation. You want it, you got it.
Are we not all in the same boat?
No, we're not. We were not in the same boat when we came to America. Okay, you're African. You were not in the boat at all. You the one that put us in the boat.
And that question cuts straight through the noise. Because systems of power do not differentiate Black people by lineage.
We don't know. There's no other Black people to there's no such thing as differentiating Black people. Black people, we're all of the same lineage, which is foundational, which ties back to U.S. chattel slavery. Other people, African Caribbean, they have their own lineage, and they can trace their lineage back to their island or their country, their tribe.
They do not pause to ask about ancestry. They do not adjust harm based on identity labels. And this is where the rhetoric collapses under real world pressure. So yes, the question for FBAs is, what is the end game?
Complete disaggregation. Next question.
What are you trying to accomplish here?
Disaggregation, explicit representation. Go ahead.
How does this designation make life better for you and your children?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Because now we can completely address the harms that continue from the legacy of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, okay, housing discrimination, employment discrimination. Yeah, we can see how far we can look at the wealth gap. We can look at education, school to prison pipeline. We can see the raw numbers. You know, they say the raw numbers, and then we can do the per capita thing. You see, we can do the per capita thing. We can see how we're being disproportionately affected by systemic racism today, because a lot of white people deny systemic racism today because they convolute it with throwing in recent immigrants, success, education, college enrollment there. They convolute our stagnation with that. It almost looked like we're moving forward. So now they justify by saying, "No, you guys are doing good. Look, you're going up. You don't need no reparations or no allocations specifically for you. No, you're moving up. Look at the chart. You're fine. Just wait another 10 years and you'll be right there."
Because that part of the equation is completely missing or unclear. And we need to understand. All right, my people, we're going to move on to today's history lesson of the day. But before that, I want to hear from you. What do you think about the foundational Black American movement?
Well, first of all, it's not a movement. Being disrespectful on purpose. All right, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Right. I can't see the chat. I'm sharing from my phone, so I will be able to look. Let me switch from Unbiased Ron to FBA News and Updates. Okay, and then I can properly see the chat. I can't see it right now. Hold on. Okay. All right, so we in here. I see the chat now. Let me put the Zoom link back in. Shit. Oops. Now, how the hell all right. Let me go back and get it. All right, so the Zoom link is for anybody as long as you are quick, right? Because I don't plan on staying up late. Okay, so we put the Zoom link in there, and it's for anybody as long as you can. Because I know a lot of y'all feel a certain way about that. But she said you might want to vent, because that was some disgusting, hateful words of this woman. Where's my glasses? I gotta read the chat. Hold on. I'm gonna read some of y'all comments. Where's my glass? Gotta find my glasses so I can read. Okay, I found them. Oh, damn. Yeah, I had to properly address her. I know Tariq Nasheed partially addressed her. He only covered her for a couple seconds. But I wanted to watch the whole thing and address all of her talking points. So DJ Big says it's a shame that there are so many African YouTube channels monitoring and speaking on what is going on with FBA in America and then have the nerve to question us like we have to check in. Ty B says, I'm sorry anyone saying ignore this woman first and only warning you you're being communist style silence or got time for being acting like cowards and wonder why some sisters don't respect us. No. I already told these cowards the danger in ignoring violent rhetoric towards us. Now we have a history in America. I understand some of you don't know it, so you got to tap in more often with this channel. We don't ignore hateful words. We address them like any other self-respecting ethnic group. Okay, you're not going to say some crazy stuff towards the LGBTQ community and they're just going to be silent. You're not going to say something disrespectful to Asians or Chinese people and they just be silent. They're going to address you. Okay, you're not going to say something about Jewish people and you're not being charged with anti-Semitism. You're not going to say anything about protected people like Indigenous Americans, Native Americans. They don't say nothing. So no, stop being a coward and defending your lineage. That's why I started something called BAD. It stands for Black Anti-Defamation. It's our version of no more or never again. Okay, so we need something where we don't tolerate any disrespect. We call it out immediately. This is what real valiant men do. Real black men. Cowards run from adversity. They run from attacks. They run hide under their bed. But people like me, don't worry, go run in your bed. I will keep defending the lineage, and I'll keep defending us from defamation. You go hide. Okay, you go hide. I got it. Yeah, no, we ain't running from no defamation. We're gonna as SWL said, ice her. Why you don't focus on us? The Democrats hate us. Roland Martin needs to crash out the gym. Ask these immigrants advice now. Yeah, and they look. She did all of that hateful speech, and she thinks that when ICE targeted her, I think she's Senegalese. I could have sworn that was a Senegalese flag. You see the Ghana, they look like Ghana Senegalese, but whatever she is, complete separation from tethers, sellouts, and immigrants. Facts. The craziest mute I ever seen. ICE is the end game. Immigration, customs, and enforcement. Yeah, everybody, delineation is not a bad thing. We're not gonna allow tethers to redefine delineation. And everybody delineate. That's your self-respecting right to carve out a unique place on this earth for your ethnic group. Catch and release. International pressure, right? Ursa, what the hell she's talking about? I get the feeling we're going to see a lot of these tethers trying to do this, especially the scam Africanists. Yeah, they are, but it doesn't hit, it doesn't land. Like still moving forward, and that's why I say Tariq Nasheed's strategy was the best when he said, "No, go ahead and create other names." That don't mean the official name is FBA, but his strategy was no, go create other names so we can spread it out thin so they can't attack one name. So when they're saying FBA, now FBA is under attack. But when you call on these shows and say, "Yeah, I'm representing ethnic Black Americans," hey, what's that? Well, ethnic Black Americans are Black Americans that's been here since day one. We were here before the country was a country, and you see what I'm saying? So you're still explaining FBA. Yeah, I'm here to represent Solon and Black history. Oh, what's Solon? Oh, Solon is period when Black folks got here in 1619, some earlier than that, 1526, and blah 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 blah. You're explaining FBA. It's under radar. You fly under radar. Oh, okay, sir. What are you here to speak about? Lineage Black Americans. What's that? Oh, lineage Black Americans. Yeah, you're saying the same thing. The other last two said. Oh, last three said, hey, sir, what are you here to do? Oh, I'm representing Foundation Black Americans. Oh, I heard about that. I hate Greek. No, it's not. It's so and so, so and so. That sound like those guys. And what are you here to do? Oh, I'm here to represent U.S. freedmen, American freedmen. And what's that? Oh, that's people that were free from slavery legally. Of course, it was free blacks, but slavery was legal, and freedmen was a name given to them to represent the abolishment of slavery. And American citizenship has been awarded to this special class, people who were harmed uniquely from anybody else. It's a unique harm that needs to be addressed, and the wrong need to be righted. You dig? So I agree with Tariq Nasheed in that sense. So yeah, man, like we're not gonna let tethers and haters discourage us from representing our lineage. I'm the first ethnic Tutneys. Yes, that's another thing. Okay, yeah, right. Ethnic Tutneys. That's same thing. Hey, so what's the ethnic Tutneys? Oh, okay. Well, what that is, and you're explaining the same thing. You feel me? So I think that's a wise strategy to use other names, and you're just defining us the same exact way. But that's called flying under the radar. Because once you say what they want you to say, then that's when they be like, oh, and they try to deflect from why you're there. So just fly under the radar to get the message across and just leave laughing. Like, gotcha, bitch. Like that beautiful sister that was able to say Foundation Black American. She caught them off guard. They didn't know what that was. She caught them off guard. And they aired it. It's too late because I got it as my intro now. So these y'all rules. Yeah, man. So but I felt like this live. You know what? This was not even a planned live. I said, Tariq already handled her. And, I was gonna do it. I was just gonna play Tariq. Now she response, and then just elaborate like I would normally do. I said, you know what? Because I didn't know it was 48 minutes. When I looked it up, I thought it was like a quick little rant, quick little babble rant. But when I seen like 10 minutes, when I seen 48, I said, oh hell, no, I'm gonna do a full reaction to this. And I'm glad I did. I believe we did a good job cooking on her. Okay, so let me see. Tomorrow, what we gonna talk about tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow we gotta do some FBA news and updates. I got a lot of updates on a lot of African immigrant scammers all from different countries of Africa. Funny, it's funny. They get caught for the most stupid stuff. Oh my God, this Haitian sibling, these Haitian siblings was on a plane. Oh my God, behaving like wild dogs, man, on a damn plane. Ridiculous, yo. A woman and then her sister and her brother. I mean, grown women, adults. A straight fool on a damn flight. So I'm gonna cover some of those, scamming, getting locked up for the flight thing on a plane, like a little funny thing, and we're gonna cook on some stuff. Maybe roll this back right here. Talk about this clown we just played and others. You feel me? It's a lot to unpack. Yeah, yeah. So Vlad is we know he's an informant. So Vlad is catching people off topic. Michael J. White said, "I just learned about it 20 seconds ago." So now Vlad becomes the representative of what FBA is, and he just misrepresented it. Tethers and throwing out stuff, disrespecting, and then what he always does, he apologized later, like, "Back out of here." Yo, let me see. As a matter of fact, let me look at Vlad numbers. Hold on. Let's look at Vlad numbers together. Let me share my screen. My man is desperate to go viral. Let me see. His views must be shitty. So he's asking people who know nothing about what FBA is on a fly, asking about what FBA is. Okay. So let's see. Let's see how Vlad, because this sounds like Vlad doing bad. Look at this. Look, 2 hours ago, 1.1 for a guy with 6 million views. That's terrible. He's supposed to have 6 million views. He dropped a video. He should have, like, I ain't lying. He should have like 200,000 views on a video he drops. 12K views, 12K, 35K. These are Tariq Nasheed numbers. And Tariq Nasheed only got, Tariq Nasheed's at 35, like 20 to like 60K, like on average. Tariq Nasheed with only 250,000 live viewers. This guy got 6 million live viewers. Sorry, 6 million subscribers. Tariq Nasheed got 250,000 subscribers. His videos on average, so his premieres do like 20K to like 60K on average. This is Vlad with 6 million subs, and he's doing numbers. These are my numbers. Yo, you see that 1.1? When I close this live out, it's gonna be close to that. I only got 4,000 subscribers. Like, I knew Vlad was doing bad. 8,000. This is shitty. 41K. 13,000, 17,000. Oh my God, this is shitty. 67K, 15K, 81K. And he got 6 million subscribers. He's at 12K a lot. Look, I'm gonna do Jason Black. Not even Tariq Nasheed. I should do Afro-Elite. Look, yeah, he's smoking black. 43. Okay, all right, hold on. Wait, I think he go live. Okay, no, I got this lives. Yo, oh my God, he smoked. Oh my, yeah, this is crazy, yo. He doing numbers like this. I didn't know that. This dude got 62K, 57K. Look at his numbers compared to, yo, the smallest number he got was 36K right there. Yo, look at his numbers compared to, like, he's smoking 66, 60. Yeah, he doing better academics, I think. God damn. Yeah, I gotta tighten up. Let me see Teledemics. Yo, his lowest was 38K. 125, okay. 59, 100. Yeah, okay, so a little more, but not really, because the other ones are similar. Like, he got some that went to 100. But look, he got 1 million subscribers. Let me go back to, I ain't look at Jason Black subscribers. Only 178,000 family. That's embarrassing. He should be your family. He got 178,000. He's smoking Vlad with 6 million subscribers. Academics got 1 million subscribers. He's on his heels. That's crazy. Now, this is where I think the what's that what's that Gilly the Kid? $1 million worth of game. Now, I think their numbers, what's it called? I think their numbers are where they're supposed to be. Let's see. Okay. So now they got 1.8. So they got a little more than DJ Academics, but they're well short of Vlad. Now that's where you see Academics is under two family. I told you, I was not lying. I said Vlad stuff should be at 305,000 each video because he got 6 million subscribers. This dude got, you could say 2 million. He got double Tetherdemics, and he got what, a third of Vlad. 300,000, 240,000. This is where Vlad's supposed to be. Okay? This is where Vlad's supposed to be. Do they go live? Sometimes. Okay, but that's where Vlad's supposed to be. At the 200,000. No, it's 6 million, man. Vlad's supposed to be like really like OD. Let me see Joe Button. Like 6 million subscribers, family. Vlad should be 800,000, 600,000. I'm telling you. Joe Button. No wonder Vlad starting shit. He's under 6 million. Look, so Joe Budden is under $1 million worth of game. Is this live or is it pre-recorded? Look 100, 100, 100, 100. Look, every video is over 100. Look, 389. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. If he and Gilly with only 1.5, 1.8 million subscribers, and they had the 174,000 every episode, Vlad is at 6 million. Vlad's supposed to be at 500,000 per show. He has a failed channel, my guy. Vlad is a failure. I knew it was something. I said something ain't right. He out here going low for a reason. He's failed. He failed. He failed. He's underperforming severely. He's competing with me. At 600 with 6 million subscribers. He's competing with me. Only got 4,000, almost 5. Told you. Yep. Like almost a mil every video. If that 6 mil is true, he paid for the subs to look bad. Yeah, something ain't right. Isn't it? If you got 6 tetherdemics, if you yeah, that's my word. Tetherdemics. Flat ratio is literally paid off there. Right, yo. That don't make any sense. 6 million subs. Yeah, he paid for too many subs. It looks bad now. Told you. Tell you, family. I look at the bottom line. I already asked ChatGPT if you got 1 million subscribers, where should your live viewership be? Or your video upload should be? Like, what's considered fair? What's considered like above? And what is considered below? And what is considered great? And what is considered shitty? And at 6 million subscribers per video, hold on. Let me type it in there. YouTube channel has 6 million. How many views per is considered good and poor? Okay, I want to know. Okay. Okay, family. It says for a YouTube channel with 6 million subscribers, a good average is roughly 600,000 to 1 million per views. So okay, good average is roughly 600,000 to 1 million plus views per video. A 10% to 16% view to sub ratio, while poor performance is generally below 300,000 views, under 5% family. It said if Vlad has anything under 300, and look, I said 500,000, I was spot on. It said if Vlad has anything below 300,000, that's called poor family. We seen him at 12K, 10K. He's supposed to be in 6 digits, and even in 6 digits, he could be having a poor performance if it's below 300,000. He's at 10K. So now, let me tell you the difference. It says high performing channels often see 10 to 1 ratios, though engagement varies by niche, and massive subscriber counts often lead to lower percentage ratios. It says, look, it says excellent viral. He should have 1.5 million if he's like the shit, if he's litty. 1.5 to 5 million will be his window if on an average video. It says if he's like underneath excellent, but he's like doing like still phenomenal, he'll be at 600,000 to 1 million per views. 600,000 to 1 million per video. It says if he's barely hanging on, he'll be at 300,000 to 600,000 views. If he's like barely, above, he's at average. But if he sucks, he'll be below 300,000. But family, it said 300,000. It didn't say below 20,000. The dude is below 20,000. That is crazy. It says subscriber age. Older channels with dead subscribers, users who no longer watch YouTube often have lower ratios. So he might have a bunch of dead subscribers. People left him, boycotted him, never went back from this slick shit he was saying about FBAs. Yeah, he's a family. He's supposed to be around the 80,000. I mean, to be a poor channel who can kind of bounce back, he should be around 80,000, 70 to 200,000 views per video. He should be. This dude's at 10K, man. There's not like his brand is it's a wrap, family. In like business sense, he should have been filed bankruptcy for that channel. Yeah, there's nothing he can do. Like the only way his channel can like thrive if he interviews Epstein. Try to be funny. The comment section of that video is crazy. Nothing but FBA in her comment section. Tearing her new one. Let me give you a lineage rich, Kiel. Kiel, I'm gonna make you a moderator. I'm gonna call that I call that a lineage wrench. Do me a favor, like the video and hit the notification bell. We're live tomorrow. I had 2 tethers call in the other day, and I want to play those back. It happened like kind of late, like around this time late, and I got them up out of here. So I want to play those again for people who might have missed it. All right. Yeah. So family. That's it, man. We out of here. I got some. Let me do this right here before you leave. I gotta do this. I wouldn't be right if I didn't do this. I wouldn't be right if I didn't do this. Oh my God, them ads. I got a nice hot video for y'all. Nice hot litty video for y'all to remind you if you can.
I can handle that for you. I can handle
Helping
that.
Adrian
You can. Okay. To support the channel.
We have to start supporting ourselves. We have to add value to our content and our voices.
No more hate.
Haters gone, hate supporters done.
Gotta donate.
Haters gone, hate supporters done. Support on your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done. Haters gone, hate supporters done. Support on your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by rhyme. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support on your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support on your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really in my they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. I'm really real one of them. I'm really him, I'm really out here standing on 10. Like and subscribe, thumbs up the video. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support on your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really him, but they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Haters gone, hate supporters done it. Support on your own, don't support one of them clones. I'm really one of them ones. I'm really him, but they dumb. Cash app, $sign on by his rhyme.
To the lineage, you dig? The lineage, man. All that hate don't stop anything, man. That just fuels us. That just motivates us to have solidarity amongst the lineage. You dig? That's what I'm doing. That's making it really go hard. Really be supportive of each other.